Hello, this is Mount Unlimited, back for another video, and Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
So we're back. The new Better Served Cold update came where they supposedly gave content to Chile and Argentina. I don't see the focus tree. Supposedly there's a 3-year-long focus tree for them, although I can't see it. Anyway, I got us somewhere around where we last left off, where we're forming an agricultural commission, and we are trying to win the Trans-Andean Treaty of Economic Cooperation, or TTEC, or TTEC Treaty, and we are gaining influence in certified regions. I'm now going after possibly gain control of Harania. I'm now going for Bahia. To those who would object, it had taken a while, but it was finally here. The reason Quattro's setting out for Japan in the first place, the deal envisioned by Kubitschek was finally going to be reality. Brazil would receive a boon in its industrialization. The Japanese would get their agriculture and minor victory over the Americans, and Lot would get the equipment for his agrarious expensive highway, and he would get the sign on it, everyone get what they want. Or did they? Quadros knew the deal wasn't as fair as everyone thought. There were farmers in Sao Paulo who were getting the short end of the deal. Maybe he could do something for them? No, wait, it was too late, wasn't it? He stood as the press surrounded the table, papers lie on. A new idea came to him. He could make a scene and demand concessions, even if the Japanese refused to listen. He could show the boys back home that he fought for them, even when Lot didn't. On the other hand, trying to get more of a deal or a negotiation for better polls back home would somewhat be short-sighted decisions as we'll get that as a major thing. I need to come back here just to help get Moist Lupion into power. Oh damn it all, the farmers deserve better. Edna Lot took a moment to enjoy the sight before her. Quadros was taking things seriously. Her fellow diplomats for Brazil were standing upright and presentable on the press. Their Japanese counterparts upright looked pleased, and the press had their cameras ready. Everything was as it should be. Why isn't he taking the pen? Why is he clearing his throat? The hell is he talking about Sao Paulo's soybeans farmers' concessions? As Quadro concluded to try raid to the shocked men in front of him, Edna took a moment to survey the environment for the second time. The Brazilian entourage looked mortified, and he stared as if her father's vice president grown a second head, and the cameras were still ready. Edna took a look back at the event as her pride in her team. After the initial shock, they managed to pounce on the crisis with incredible skill. In minutes, they managed to get Quadros back down, reassure the Japanese and get the deal. The only thing they couldn't stop was all the journalists who would have a field day with this. The worst part was that she had no doubt that his followers, especially those in Sao Paulo, would eat this up. Let's hope no one else does. Whoops. Hey, we've got the Agricultural Commission. Deploy Gulat. Gulat is a well-respected amongst the rural and labor movement and de facto leader of the PTB, Party Trajilista Brasilia, the Brazilian Workers' Party, is known for his ability to effectively empathize with the people who are willing to tell him what they want and listen to his suggestion in a way that Lot or any other prominent member of the PSD, the Party Social Democratico, or the Social Democratic Party, or even the PTB, already said what that name was, cannot hope to equal. That is just what we need. If we want to bring a positive end to this challenging situation, President Lot recognizes this. Accordingly, he will send Galat to talk to these people and calm them down. I think I clicked over one. God damn it. Freedom to distress. Alright, you know why you're here. Give me some dirt to this cockroach. Carl Lacerda clapped his hands and wrote a name atop the large blackboard in front of the crowded meet hall. Henrique Lot Lacerda had set 13 of his best journalists on investigating every dirty deed, backroom deal, and possible scandal. Or investigating Brazil's current president has possibly been involved in. Now they were ready to present their findings, or rather the lack of findings. But no one spoke, and Soda threw his hands up in the air. What? You've been looking into this retrobate for months now. Give me something. A nervous-looking woman near the back of the room cleared her throat and shakily stood up, all eyes turned on. Sir, we regret to inform you we found almost nothing, sir. As far as we can tell. She looked expectantly at the vaguely nodding counterparts. Lot is clean. The only concrete accusation were all very minor. Nothing worthy of even a tabloid. As far as we can, and silence any resume. Can tell the man is untouchable. He sat down, and the awkward silence resumed. Macedo looked around the room and sighed. Christ, I don't have time for this. I have to put off a meeting of my poverty council for this. You understand that Rio has the highest rate of unemployment and homelessness in the country, and I should be leading it right now instead of talking to a group of professional simpletons. A young man in the front row, in his face fixed with embarrassment and indignation. What the hell you want from us? You can't we can't just make shit up. Language. Lacerda laughed and took up his back up his chalk. Oh, I can't speak. Watch me. Cool. Lot seen with woman half his age. Lot patriot. Let or FBI spy. Fraud president seals votes. Lots brought on and on. Rossetto wrote, covering the board in eye-catching headlines and random accusations until every inch of it covered by a story. Rossetto turned back to the ground and staring at him with a mix of disgust, apprehension, and a strange kind of excitement. Get writing, I have a city to fix. Rossetto forgot to leave the chalk. Now that guy is cool. We gotta play as him sometime. Yeah, at least I still have control of Piranha. That's a good thing. Sayonara Nippon Naiho yo Zongguan. Nippon is Japanese for Japan. So if you want to be specific, the technical term isn't Japanese, it would be Nipponese. And technically, Chinese for China is Zongguao. So technically, you could call a Chinese person a Zongguan. Anyway, Quadros woke up with a grin and a skip to his step. Yesterday had been almost perfect. The deal was signed, celebrations were worth the tax money, dinners were delicious. Edna was too busy to badger him, and the drinks won't stop. At least but how he pretty sure it went. Around 2 hours into making Japan's Brazilian embassy the best place in the East Rio, someone pulled out some special sake, and his memory became just a little spotty. It was probably fine. Worrying about it wouldn't change anything, and he had a plane to catch. As the Tokyo starline disappeared behind him, Quadros took a moment to reflect on the good times and the team had before, feeling a fresh wave of excitement over the destination ahead. Oh, China, he could see it now, the rustic countryside, the developing cities, the ancient sites. Just think of all the pandas. This was the shaping up of the wonderful vacation of a diplomatic trip. Now, if he could just get the Japanese to relax a little, maybe they'll be less strict. Japanese people being less strict, that's funny. 80 minutes to end of the video. China was a beautiful country, even if you ignored all the fascists and their jackboots to appreciate it. I don't think it's technically fascist. Yeah, technically it would be Hoi4 which isn't technically fascist. It's not even fascist at all, actually. I think it's pretty left-wing nationalism, or at least ultra-nationalism, a bit of a left-wing stint. Dinner and the Alpha, that's what it's called. Northern Action and their attack group to appreciate it. Quadros took a few opportunities. He had enjoyed the sights and culture of the subjugation nation, not as easy task when he was hounded by both the Chinese and Japanese negotiators and lots lackeys. He insisted on watching his every move, so the ex-army boy, he didn't think he could handle this. Well, shows what he knows. The negotiations went swimmingly. In no time, for he had represented lives of two of the series' most essential nations eating out of his hands. All left for the day was a chat with the diplomat of non-important issues and enjoy the elixir of Peking duck, a generous sip of wine. He smiled and laughed along with his dinner and noticed the Chinese official trying to get his attention. Mr. Vice President! One of his men began to translate demand for him to celebrate with the new friendship between our two republics. We wish to offer Brazil a gift, a panda bear from one of our illustrious zoos. The official gave a full smile as Quadros picked up at this offer. We can prepare it for safe travel as soon as we wish. Quadros had already decided he was bringing a majestic creature back to Brazil one way or another. The question was whether to accept it and let everyone know about it, or just put off the offer so the Japanese could already get a heads up. He was sure they wouldn't mind too much, but they seemed to really hate surprises again. So, ask permission to get a panda, or get a free panda. Get the free panda! They have taken Bahia province. I need to go back here after play our guard popularity for a bit. So we can beat alright. First this. Play hardball, that's always a good thing. So Brazilian weapons. And finally, buy some Brazilian goods. Surprised announcement and embarrassed, Edna found herself with an easy smile as she discussed business with the Japanese diplomat for once. Quadros had followed the plan set for him without a hitch, and all their hard work and was bearing fruit. She was still going to keep an eye on him. She and stood off the sidelines as the vice president of the diplomats spoke. Press deal. So far, things were looking good. One last thing, I wish to announce Quadros had an excited look on his face that Edna had come to associate with immense disaster. With permission of the Republic of China's government, the people of Brazil will have the pleasure of a new panda bear in our nation's most illustrious zoo of Rio de Janeiro. Wait, what? When the hell did they agree to this? Look, as surprised as she was, much more displeased. When one of the diplomats was asked by the now very excited press about the agreement, he said the deal was still in draft, and on the other hand, the Chinese looked very pleased with themselves, no doubt because they managed to pull a fast one over their overlords in public. Wiping the surprise off her face, Edna turned back to the now irritated Japanese official with her most diplomatic smile. Well, gentlemen, I think we have much to discuss. Would you like to talk over some tea? This is getting ridiculous. Got something done. That happened. Saying no to Guanabara. Yeah. A farewell to those Chinese nights. The journey through China was an experience that neither Hanyo Quoros nor Edna Lot would ever forget. From the sights of the presidential palace, the sounds of everyday life, and the festivities, fine dining marked the trip's high points. It wasn't without hiccups, the impulsive and odd behavior of Brazil's vice president, and its inflexibility of the Japanese diplomats made some uncomfortable decisions. Even so, the journey proved very fruitful. Chinese rice for Brazilian oranges, steel for products, the promises made from Quadros, whose detour were finally being made a reality as Quadros and his entourage thanked their hosts for their generosity and helped the Vice President felt a sense of great pride and accomplishment resting aboard his aircraft. The man brimmed anticipation as the plane taken off far away within the presidential palace. Enrique Lott can only hope that Quadratus does not do anything to ruin the trip last moment. Hopefully he can continue to behave himself. Hopefully. Eight minutes left. Diplomatic tug of war. It wasn't often that Quadratus found himself lost as where to go next, but two envelopes in his hand gave him pause. As the trip was supposed to be over, the visit was made, deals were signed, and the only left was go home. It was probably what Lott wanted, but on the other hand, it wasn't every day that you get formally invited to two Asian centers of industry, Guangdong and Manchuria, the Sea's rising stars and its oldest workhorse. One was a bustling tech industry of a country and a place of innovation with the eyes of the future. The other was, once upon a time, the golden goose of Japan's empire, where resources were tirelessly extracted to fuel a superpower as their competition for foreign investment, and was famous even in Brazil. Quadratus could preen the pride from two countries who were vying for his attention. It was a shame that he was confident he couldn't get away with the vision. If visiting both, Lott would push his foot down at that, but he would listen to the idea of a new trade deal with either of them. At first glance, Manchuria was the obvious choice to visit and be about the industrialization of first place, and the Manchuria has proven worth in front. On the other hand, Guangdong's development was auspicious, and a visit could get Brazil the ground floor of something world-changing. Of course, both carried the stigma of exploitation of misery for native people, but maybe the moral choice is to ignore both, and more important than anything economics. Now, there's a really hard choice between a country that will have a focus tree, and it's honestly pretty cool into itself. Maybe that's for another time, though, once this mod gets that Manchuria update. And I hope it actually gets a focus tree, god damn it, because if it's like this mod where it's claimed to get a focus tree and there's no focus tree, yeah, I'm going to just get rid of this mod and just play Tno Requiem instead. So, I guess going to the one with the actual focus tree, the state of Guangdong, led by the Kanton Misufi Seifu, or the Legislative Council, is a better choice. Let's see what those whiz-kids in Guangdong have cooked up. So what actually is the ideology of Japan coming? The United timeline was Showa statism, the corporate statism. Technically, the idea was Showa statism, which is slightly different. Colombian President Liorano Gomez dies in office. Rest in peace, my friend. In the Northwest provinces. The future is here. Quadratus wasn't sure that he was sure what to expect when he decided to entertain the Guangdong businessmen requested to give a speech to them, but he did was nothing short of incredible. Cities of neon, various titans of technology, innovation, and those factories churned out everything from home appliances to latest in music or weaponry. Guangdong truly felt like something out of the future. God damn, they're gonna steal this. Should've. No, not. Okay, so leave it on this one. Oh, wait, no. Leave it on this one. Long Northern Reverend Governors truly felt like something from the future, speaking before an audience of the colony's wide variety of Japanese technocrats, Chinese workers, and everything in between. He settled on a speech about all of their work and inspire as well, but having a side focus on cooperation between their countries and the rising economic powers. Worked like a charm, of course. As soon as the speech was over, a group of businessmen invited him to their office back room to discuss a trade deal. It proved to be a streamlined process. It seemed they had been preparing for this occasion well in advance and boiled down two options. The first centered around Los Amazonia Highway Express to excessive depth. Specifically, it was about the tools and machinery that could be created on the process. The second was based around giving Brazil a front foot in the door to the country's technology trade, thus give Brazil the boost in its regional contemporaries. So that would increase the speed, which is it's managed to connect Picos or economic growth increased by 1%. The sooner the highway is finished, the better. So that should increase that speed by 0.5. Recording. 3 minutes left. Deploy Galot. Stop League crackdowns. Now it is true that the Peasants League and their leaders are not the most reasonable or effective in pursuit of their goals. This is to be expected. What is clear to President Lott is that the cause is just. They only want to create a better and more equitable and just Brazil for themselves and their children. This is why he allowed himself to be convinced by the faction clothes of the PTB, the Terceiro Neves, and the unseen, surprisingly enough, Yanyo Quarros to cut down on the current crackdowns against the Peasants' League. Some of the members of the military are grumbling. They accuse the president of treating the Amazonianist subversives and commies with kids' gloves, but Los Neves and the PTB, and Quadros believe that the benefits of showing the peasants kindness far outweigh the risk, and so they will push through this course of action. Alright. A minute to finish this. Deploy Glot. Of all the tired, angry little corners of Brazil to be sent, Glot had always found it in himself to make them his own tired, angry little corner. Nobody really needed to work away at calming down some Garden Village, especially not when the ever regimented local police were already more than capable of quieting such insubordination, though Galot always found it in himself to get his hands dirty, as his cars would say. The assembled crowd was lined up after all as soon as Galot took his steps towards the makeshift custodian, and consisted of a variety of crushed cardboard boxes, and the crowd jeered and insulted and simmered down, and when Galot opened his mouth, they came to complete stop. Ladies and gentlemen, do not, Alexa, stop. Do not mistake me as one of the countless aristocrats. Do not take me as a brutish street thug. Do not take me, do not take me, just take me as you would a guest. That is is all I am. After all, Glort paused and leaned forward to the crown. His voice hardened and his posture snapped into a that of a great agitator himself. Lord me, those who steal your grain, those who rob your effort, those who make your life impossible, well, those are not guests. They are not welcome. None deserve to have their hard work chiseled into nothingness by moral artisans of the greater powers. The crowds stood partly confused, angry voices dying off, only to listen to who had been sent to quiet them, and stood partly with anger growing back into their soul, their fists themselves as a whole, as they listened to the lone politician ahead of their hostess. You have all suffered under the tight yoke of those who have ignored you, trampled you. I have seen it. Even now I see it. Though that is why I will not rest. I will not sleep until I have passed a bill so strong that even the lowliest thief will pay his local representatives to vote against it. Yet the crowd had begun to receive their spirit before before anyone really knew it, they were chanting his name. Glot, looking across the latest masterpiece, it was something to behold, and he knew all that remains was to fulfill his promise, and God help him if he didn't. So this has been today's video. I hope you enjoyed. I accidentally put season 8 in a bunch of them. Don't worry, I fixed it. It's now season 9. This is going well. We're beating the Argentinians, and we're going to beat them again in the second point. So, yeah, that's going to be good. The tariffs, at least. We've already won the opening negotiations. I hope to win the third and fourth, and hopefully fifth argument. We also need to get that tension down. Problem is, we're going to lose one of these. And with that, I call this video an end. So next time, I'm going to put some more focus on Piranha. And probably try to get Guanabara. Yeah. So, till then, that seems to be the only one I can actually do at the moment. Maybe Sao Paulo afterwards, but yeah, 40 line. I'll find another one. Marhau. That'll probably be it. So, till next time. Hope to see you then. Hope to see you. Have a good day. Goodbye. Goodbye.